It's the WOW Show, Women on Women. I'm Shazmin Shamsuddin.
I'm Joanne Campopo.
And it's Christmas Day today. Merry Christmas.
And it is also our last episode of season 3.
That's right. Now, Ning couldn't be with us today because she's very busy being a superstar. But we have with us the lovely Joanna Joseph.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me, Joanna.
Oh, it's a delight. Now, Joanna is an actress, a beauty queen, a social media influencer, an animal activist, and also an anti-bullying activist.
Yes.
That's a lot of stuff and a long journey you've had to come to this point. Can you share with us this journey, especially with regards to, you know, how you became an activist for the anti-bullying?
So I used to be bullied a lot in school when I was very much younger, and it was because of my weight. So it was physical bullying in the beginning, and I went to an all-girls school. So it was really, really, really bad.
So when you mentioned your weight,
Mhm.
were you plus size then? And how
Yes.
old were you?
I was about 60 kgs when I was in primary school, 7 years old, and that was already considered obese for a kid. And when I went to secondary, I was about 104 kgs.
Wow.
So I was the biggest girl in school. I was
Okay.
also the tallest girl in school. And I looked really like big, you know.
Okay.
So all the other girls used to make fun of me. They used to say like, you know, you're so big. You shouldn't be sitting in front of the class. You should sit at the back. We can't see. And during sports was the worst because I know that I'm not that capable to run fast back then. So I was pretty slow, and I would always be the one that causes the team to like slow down. So they used to point that out all the time. It got really bad. I felt very, very insecure about myself. And it all started from there.
Right. When you mentioned physical bullying, what does that entail? What did that entail?
We used to have chair fights in school.
Chair fights?
Yeah.
Explain this chair fight routine.
When I tried to defend myself and I tried to stand up to myself, the other girls would just stand up and take the chair and come over and be like,
No
"Oh, you want to
way.
fight?"
Wow.
Yeah, and
Wow.
it was really scary.
Quite something also.
Yeah, exactly.
So these were the physical stuff. And later on, when social media existed, of course, like everybody was on social media.
Correct.
Back then, Facebook was the thing. Like everyone was making Facebook accounts. Instagram hasn't existed back then. And I wanted to create an account too. But I was really, really scared because I wasn't confident in myself. And I noticed that everybody was just posting photos of themselves looking good. And I just did not want to. So I hesitated at first. And later on, when I uploaded a photo of myself, that was when all the bullying started all over again.
Oh.
How old were you at this point?
I think about 13, 14.
Okay. So your parents, you know, they were aware you had social media, a Facebook account and all that? What
They were
did they
aware.
say to you at this point?
Did you talk to your teachers or any other friend about this bullying that you have gotten, not only in school, but also cyberbullying?
Yes, I have. Like a lot of kids in school knew that I was getting bullied. They were there when I was getting bullied. They saw it happen, but no one really interfered in it. They just thought that, you know, it's a common thing. It's a norm for kids
But
to
there
get
should
bullied.
be some disciplinary teacher going around that can be highlighted or
No. Well, here's the thing. In my school, teachers used to bully too. So we had teachers who were always saying mean things to the kids, saying that, oh, you're so fat, you should lose weight. This is why you can't climb the stairs. And I remember there was one time where I was in the assembly and I was seated. And then they told us all to stand up. So when I stood up, I lost my balance and I fell in front of everybody. And that was very, very embarrassing for me. And nobody helped me up. And the teachers started laughing.
God.
So it was really hurtful. From then, I kind of knew that this is going to be a long journey in school. You know, like no one's going to help me and defend me. I only had one person with me. She was my best friend. And she was also getting bullied. So we were both getting bullied together.
Did you all feel very alone?
Yeah, when she did not come to school, I would feel alone. It came to the point where like we started calling each other and asking like, are you coming to school tomorrow? And if she says
my
no, I'm like,
God.
I'm not
So
going to go
sad.
to. Yeah.
There's such an impact. I mean, I'm sure there's psychological impact from all this as you were growing up.
Yep.
12, 13, 14. This is when, you know.
There's so many changes.
Yeah, so many changes are
puberty-wise.
happening with puberty and all. Did you feel that those psychological impact at that time carry forth to you becoming a young lady?
Yeah, definitely. I think that I carried a lot of emotional baggage throughout my primary. It's just that I never really understood what it was. When I got bullied in primary, I thought that, it's common, like everybody calls each other names and stuff. It's like a kid's thing. But I carried all of that to my secondary. And I think that's when I started feeling really insecure, because when I looked at all the other girls, they seemed pretty like normal. They were all
They were all
small
normal.
and they had the tiny uniforms. And I had to like stitch my uniform from scratch because I couldn't get a size. And that used to be a reason as to why I was picked on. So looking at all of that, I felt like something was wrong with me.
Right.
And I just wanted to fit in. And I tried so hard to fit in, to be nice, to buy food for them, like, to make friends. But it just never worked. So I was under the impression that there's something wrong with me. There's something wrong with me. It's not normal to look the way I look in school. And I think that was what motivated me to like tell myself, okay, you know what? Like, let's do it for the betterment. Let's lose the weight. And because of all the trauma, I took it and I decided to lose the weight. But until today, I feel like I carry a lot of those baggage.
Yes, of course.
Being in the entertainment industry, being a model, sometimes there are, of course, expectations of the beauty industry. And when it comes to that, like being a plus size person, becoming like a normal person, but still having stretch marks and excess skin and all of those, and being told over and over again that, hey, you shouldn't be having that. It's not normal to have that. Get it removed. Go for surgery. It makes me think of those times I went through in my primary and secondary school, and it kind of feels like, it's like a never-ending thing. It's still going to happen over and over. My inner child is still hurt.
For sure.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned that, when you first got Facebook, you first got online, you were also teased and bullied online. Your parents knew about this.
Yes, they did.
And what was your support at home like?
My mom, she was always more towards the studious type. She's just like, oh, study, like she never really bothered about anything else. But when it came to my dad, he was someone that I could actually talk to, sit down and speak to. I never really spoke to him much about stuff online. It was more of like what's happening in school. So there were times where he used to come to school and talk to the principal, and they used to have arguments, and they all hated my dad because he was always there to like stand up for me.
Yeah.
But when it came to online stuff, I was really scared. It was something very new for me, and I didn't know if I should be talking to my parents about that. Like, they knew I had social media accounts.
What was the extent of the online bullying? Was it just name calling, or were there more significant, stuff that happened?
In the beginning, it was name calling. People commenting weird stuff on my photos, like, haha, you're fat and this and that, like lose some weight and stuff. And I was also like, I still am, and I was also a huge Justin Bieber fan. So that led to a lot of bullying as well, because like they used to say like, oh, he can't sing and this and that, and this is why you like him. So that was an additional factor of bullying. Like, being a believer was a bullying. And then like for the way I look. And there was this one time where I made friends with someone online. I started dating this person as well.
Wow.
I've not met this guy.
Okay.
And it was a very childish thing, but this person was there for me all the time. And then when he told me he liked me, I just felt like, someone likes me,
Someone likes me.
Yeah, despite all of the bullying. This is so weird, because everyone around me told me that, you'll never be able to like
get a boyfriend or get someone to like you because of your size.
Yes.
Oh, trust me, we all big girls have heard that one before, right?
Yeah.
How old were you when this person started
I think
coaching or contacting you?
About 13-ish, towards the end of 13-ish.
I feel like there's a plot twist somewhere here.
Of course.
Did something happen?
Something did happen. So this guy was 18 and he was from Johor. So he was really far. But the reason why we connected so well was because all my friends in school seemed to also be friends with this guy online.
Oh.
So it became like a thing to be
So
friends.
it wasn't just one person he befriended. He befriended all your friends, people that you know in school.
Yeah.
Were he also giving them the same attention he was giving you? Because with you, he was like, became more than just a friend. He was like, I'm here to support you. And of course, there's a lot of care and feelings, and you obviously...
Sounds like grooming to me.
Yeah, grooming. It is grooming.
I mean, he's 18, you were
grooming.
13.
It is.
So that's, another episode, a future episode, I think. Child grooming, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
But yeah,
yeah,
what
how
was
did-
the deal with this guy?
He asked me to be his girlfriend.
Okay.
And I told him I'm not going to give an answer and I'm going to think about it. I went to
Mhm.
school. I spoke to like my friends about it. They were like, "Oh, are you sure he likes you because you're so fat? You know, like he's not seen you in person yet. He's going to like
okay.
leave you."
Mhm.
So I thought about it and I said, "Okay, you know what? Let's just give it a shot." And I think that was like the worst mistake ever because after I got together with this guy, everything was fine. But later on, he started asking me weird stuff like, "Send me this, send me that, send me this photo, that photo." And I was too young to understand what all of these were.
Did you meet up with him face to face before he started asking all the pictures?
No, I've not met the guy until today.
Just to let you know,
Okay.
you were 13, 14 at that time,
Yeah.
and he was 18.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter at what age, they still ask for your picture. So you
Yeah.
all girls out there, be
Mm.
very careful. Be careful. That's all I can say.
Yeah. He asked like multiple times and I kept saying, no, I'm not comfortable. And there was one point where he started the emotional blackmail part where like, oh, you don't trust me, you know, like you're so fat and you should be lucky I chose you to be
Oh
my
my God.
Yeah, he
okay.
went in that
That
way.
road.
And
And for someone that's 13 or 14, imagine this
Yeah.
is your first crush.
Yeah.
Emotions are involved, you
Mm.
know. And he tapped on those emotions to get you to give him what he wanted.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, you were not comfortable. And if a person loves you, he
they would not
he
ask.
will never
Yeah.
ask you to do anything that you're not comfortable with.
Yeah. I guess I just did not know what
Sure.
love was.
Of
or,
course.
you know, it was just
Right.
like a puppy like crush kind of thing. Like,
Mhm.
I like this person. I don't want to lose this person.
Right.
So I gave in to him. Yeah. I sent
No.
like one photo and I told him, please delete it. I was so naive back then. And he was like, oh, yeah, I'm going to delete it. And he sent me his. So I didn't want to see any of
Mhm.
that. And I immediately was like, oh my God, what is this? And I just deleted it. But we had a lot of arguments after that. And
Mhm.
I started becoming depressed. I fell into self-harm. There were lots of suicidal thoughts because of the bullying in school and then like
Mm.
issues with this guy. And I had no one to talk to about it because my
And
parents...
you couldn't talk to your dad about it, of
No,
course.
no one knew I was with this person. Like I was just going through all of it alone.
Yeah.
And we ended up breaking up eventually.
Okay.
And it was about a few months later where he started contacting all my friends saying that, oh, you know, I want to go back to her, please. I want her to come back to me. But I said no. And the next thing I knew was him and his girlfriend after me, both of them pakat together. And they sent my photo out.
To everyone?
Yeah, like they sent it via
Wow.
MMS first. It was so scary because like I used to contact him with my mom's phone and
Oh,
the photo
no.
kept going to her and I was so freaked out. I can remember the time when I got the MMS because I was doing my hair in the salon and it was such a clear
Yeah.
memory until today on how I felt at that moment and what I didn't know what to do.
Mm.
And I tried talking to her, but she's just like, oh no, you know, like I have your photo, I'm gonna destroy your life and stuff. And it was a woman doing it to me. So I tried talking to her in a sense where like, you are a woman, I'm a woman, you know,
Exactly.
like
Yeah.
we shouldn't be doing this. And she's just like, nah. So it went out on Facebook, on Twitter.
Some people are so evil.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Did you manage to get that down by any chance? Did you report it?
I tried, but the thing is, the people I was surrounded by, when I spoke to them about it, like, hey, can you please report this profile? Like, it has like a photo of me, we shouldn't be there. They end up taking that photo and spreading it out more.
Mm.
There's like an opportunity for them to like, oh, let's destroy somebody. Let's take a photo and let's just...
That's terrible.
So
I feel for you.
Yeah, it went out and it went on for years after that. Like
Okay.
I fell into the pit of depression. It became worse. And that was when I spoke to my dad and I told him what happened.
Mhm.
And he was very upset about it, but we kept it between me and him in the beginning. We didn't tell anybody else. He got me through that and he said, I think you should just focus on yourself, make yourself better. That's when I started the whole weight loss thing.
Okay.
Yeah, just...
Right.
So that was-
Before we get to that, I just want to know, like, at this point, were you already self-harming and did you
Yeah.
have suicidal thoughts?
Yep.
What was, I suppose, what was the thing that kept you from? Because we've heard of issues where cyberbullying and all this type of thing led to, you know, unaliving oneself.
Yeah.
What made you decide, I guess, not to go that extra
Go
mile
forward.
and go for it with it?
To be very honest, I stopped self-harming only 3 years ago.
Oh.
Yeah, it was
So-
something where I got better and then I relapsed and then I got better and then I relapsed because it becomes an addiction at some point. And you use it as a way to combat pain, especially mental pain. You change it to physical pain and it became like a coping mechanism for me. So every time I thought that it got better, I end up relapsing.
Yeah.
But when my dad passed, I told myself that, okay, you know what? I'm not going to do it anymore because I don't want to hurt him like that.
Yeah.
And it has been 3 years since I'm clean. So I'm really happy. I've
Okay.
been sticking to that promise.
Congratulations.
But thank you. But then one thing I always tell people who come to me about self-harm and suicidal thoughts, like sometimes some of my followers on Instagram, they come up to me and say, I feel like doing it. And I know that you have been vocal about it on social media. I tell them, please don't ever start because once you start, it's something that's so difficult to stop.
Do you
Right.
think that for when you go into that wanting to self-harm and all that, like you say, you came out of it and then it relapsed back in?
Yeah.
Have you already worked with maybe a therapist or someone to identify those triggers? Because these are all like triggers. It's like alcoholism and all that. It takes one scene, one scenario, one experience to trigger you back to that person who wants to continue to self-harm yourself.
I have not gone to a therapist or a psychiatrist, but I have spoken to so many people that I've worked with and we have had discussions. So I think that really helped because I've had this one experience where I was admitted in the hospital and the psychiatrist kind of leaked out information to the general public about what I was going through.
Wow.
So that was
What?
really, really traumatizing.
But they're not supposed to.
No.
Yeah, they're not
It's
supposed
against
to.
the law.
Yeah.
It actually is. But also I've seen how the hospital psychiatrists, let's say when you self-harm, they put you in a normal bed and then at that time I was admitted as well to and the girl next to me that was real, she took pills, so she was self-harm. And the psychiatrist that came, all they wanted to know was, do you want to report this? That's all.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to report this, then we have to do this. It's a lot tedious. If not, okay, then they just leave it. And even the way they answer or give a question is to a point. After the fourth or fifth question, I would say, yeah, okay, I'm not going to report this because I think if you report it, it will be brought to the police and I think you will be fined or something.
Sometimes they just call the police on you. Like they don't ask you, they just call the cops and they just come.
Right.
Because I've seen cases like this and I've been to the hospital for stitches as well. When they know that you are a self-harmer or you're here because of a suicidal intention, their attitude towards you changes so much. They become really rude. Like I've had people ask me, why are you here? Why didn't you just chop off your whole arm instead? Kenapa menyusahkan kami? You know, like these are the things that they say. And I think that the mental health segment in the government hospitals, especially, they really do not know how to handle.
There's a lack of empathy there.
Yeah.
And professionalism. You asked me if that was your experience.
Yep.
So, what happens? You had your father as your support system, that one person who you could kind of go, go to.
Yeah.
For a lot of these cases of cyberbullying, I mean, they have no one
Where can
to
they
talk
go?
about. I mean, what is your advice, I suppose,
I would
in that
say,
instance?
I've had circumstances where I felt like I had no one to talk to. And most of the time, what I do is I practice writing it out. Like I feel like writing your feelings out, sometimes it really helps to control your emotions. As long as you find a healthy way to get it off your chest, to get it out. So writing really helps. And I always have one person at least to confide in. I understand that it's difficult to trust someone sometimes because things tend to backfire on you. But talking about it really helps. And if it's not a friend or if it's not someone that you know, I would suggest getting professional help. That's the best way forward. I know I've not done it before.
Yeah, I was
but then
going to
it's
ask you, why haven't you done so?
Yeah, exactly.
After the first incident that happened in the hospital, that was my last. I just told myself that, you know what, I'm just going to deal with it myself. I'm going to challenge myself to deal with it. And I have been dealing with it well, but I understand not everybody can do that. Sometimes you need professional help. So what I try to do is like, I try to speak with a lot of different communities where we have befrienders and a couple of people. We talk about mental health and we come up with solutions that the general public can go to if they are feeling down. That is affordable sometimes. Because I think a lot of people refuse to go for psychiatric help or therapies because of the price.
Yeah.
It's so expensive.
It's like 300 ringgit or 350 an hour,
per session.
Yeah.
Not everyone can afford that. And then they say, if you cannot afford that, never mind, go to government. But the government hospitals, the wait is so long.
Yeah.
It might be a few months before you can see someone, you know?
Correct.
So it's really just a tough issue at the moment.
True, which is why I feel like more people should talk about it, speak about it, to create like a chain movement where the government finally realized that, hey, we need to do something about this. This is important.
Well, you are an advocate for anti-bullying. Like you mentioned just now, there are people who message you and who were in that same dark hole as you were, like 13, 14. Would you in the future, or maybe like next year, look into having a platform where people can actually ask you questions and all that?
Yeah, I did think about it.
Like an online thing, it doesn't have to be just you. It could be like other counselors and all, you know, where girls, especially girls, can write in and then someone gets back to them. I think a lot of time for girls, especially when they're 13, 14, 15 and 16, sometimes certain situations that they go through, like what you say, being coached and all that, some even get into the sexual aspect, you know. For them, it's like, I have nobody to tell, because if I tell my brother, my sister, my father, my mother, I will be considered a pariah in the family.
Yep.
So for them, perhaps having a lifeline, like just, you know, an email or even a chat to say, okay, we'll get back to you. You know, what are you feeling? Something like that. I know befrienders have it.
Yes.
But perhaps there needs to be another relook at perhaps a community that could support things like this, anti-bullying and all.
Yeah. I normally have like a lot of people write into me directly on my
right.
DMs because they know that I'm vocal about it. And I've not seen much people out there speak about personal experiences, especially with stuff where like your photos are getting leaked. And those are like really taboo topics. You know, nobody really wants to open up and talk about it. But when I did, believe it or not, I had so many men and women come to me in my DMs and tell me, oh my God, I've gone through what you've gone through. I've been living in silence for so many years.
Because they're ashamed.
Yeah.
A lot of them are ashamed. They have nowhere to go to.
Yeah.
And even if they have their best friend, perhaps their best friend isn't equipped
to help them.
Because they're at that
them.
stage, age group.
Correct.
Yeah. Can I get your thoughts on this? I mean, who are these cyberbullies? Who are these trolls? And what do they get out of it doing what they do? I'm thinking about the Isha case, you know?
Yeah. Very unfortunate what happened to her. But most of the time, like when I get bullied these days as well, it all comes from fake accounts. You don't know who's behind it.
It's always fake accounts.
Yeah, and people are just so brave to say things to you behind a fake account, but not in front of you. That's so strange. But I do have people who actually like fire me online sometimes using their original accounts. And they have this pattern of doing it with like a lot of people. So
they gang up on you.
Yeah, that too. But believe it or not, sometimes it can be your own friend. Which is why it's so difficult for them to say it to your face, because in front of you, they're really nice. But at the back of you, they need like a platform to hate on you.
Oh, wow.
I've met people like that. I've seen people like that do it to other people too. And I always tell them, I go, why just talk to the person? Why do you have to use a fake account? You know, like it's just so much of hassle.
What do you think they get out of cyberbullying? Are they looking for a connection, be it negative?
I think it just gives them a form of power and happiness and like some form of like, I got to do this today. You know, like I made someone feel this way.
I got to
satisfaction.
Tell them how bad they are.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
It comes from a
no
place
life.
I know.
When I see this, I always wonder, do you all people have no life, bills to pay and things to do?
No.
Well, some people just have a lot of free time. And they're just really unhappy and insecure about themselves, which is why they project it on other people.
Okay, so when they do that to you, how do you respond?
Yeah.
Do you respond? Because that's also a response. No response is kind of a response.
In the beginning, I used to argue back a lot. Like when someone comments something, I used to try and justify it. Like, oh no, it's actually this, and that. But what I realized is that these people do not want to hear your justification. They just want to like hate on you. And that's just it. And there's no point going back and forth with them.
Yeah.
But believe it or not, there was this one time where I had this anonymous account come to me and say something really horrible, like, oh, you are like a slut. And it just goes on. So I told myself, okay, you know what? I'm going to try and talk to this person and see if I can communicate with this person and find out why they are saying such. Because I had time on my hands at that time. So while talking to this person just kept going at me for a while. And I was very patient. Finally, this person said, I actually follow you.
Huh?
Yeah, I actually follow you.
Your fan?
Yeah, using an anonymous account.
But he's saying all these bad things
to me.
To you.
Yeah.
All right.
And
what was his purpose? Did he mention why?
I asked her.
Oh, okay.
It was a girl. And she said, oh, I see you wearing all these clothes which I cannot wear. And I feel so angry because I want to wear the clothes that you wear. I want to be sexy. I want to feel confident, but I can't do that because my parents don't allow me. So hating on you makes me feel better.
Wow.
Okay.
So
well,
at
least she was honest about it. And a lot of times, I guess, understanding that. Imagine how low a point of life is.
Correct.
How insecure, how being denied to live her life. And perhaps she was also plus size.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of plus size girls grow up hating society. And I grew up plus size. You need to build that screen, like that protection screen. So a lot of times you try and be vocal. You try to be mean. You be the mean girl, the mean big girl before they become mean to you.
Yeah.
So that's another, mechanism that, of course, a lot of plus size girls use.
Yeah.
But what has been positive, maybe not here, but I do know there is this movement going around where people are now putting in plus size, even with Barbie dolls. They put plus size Barbie dolls, models, Victoria's Secret. It's also representation, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's normalizing all
it's
figures.
It's normalizing
and sizes.
all figures. But of course, we are in Asia.
Yeah.
You will always want to be that cookie cut frame, that looks like petite and have Korean eyes, and that's where all the plus all the features on your filters are. But there is a movement out there, and I've also been seeing younger girls who has taken up a body positive movement as well. And that's and even when we were doing our WOW show with our lingerie, we wanted different body women. We wanted plus size. We wanted women who were older. We wanted women who had cellulite and all that. And it's representation. When the world sees all these girls taking their power, then you take your power back for yourself.
True.
Okay, so Joanna, what can we do to stop this culture of online abuse?
I think number one would be to always advocate for it, especially for those who have a platform. I think every platform is a platform, regardless of how much you have on there, because when you put your content out, there is someone who's going to be watching it. And even that one person or two person would get inspired by it. So using your platform to speak about important things like these is really important. Number two, when I worked together with BBC recently for this Telegram nude pictures thing, they spoke to me a little about online safety. And that is when I kind of understood that there was such thing as online safety, where you can actually configure your settings, add in keywords that you do not want to see on your profile. So it's automatically blocked if someone comments it. And I found that a very helpful feature, because sometimes if you notice, like, hate comments are always repeated with same vulgarity, same words.
Yeah.
And to block it out entirely, so when they comment it, it's automatically hidden and you get to delete it before like anybody else sees it. I think that's a really important feature that not only Instagram, but TikTok, Facebook, all of them have it now. So it's to also help curb cyberbullying.
So in terms of Meta and Facebook and online media, so they have already put this up. It's a new feature. And, for those who are, going online, it's something which you protect yourselves.
Yeah.
What do you think the government should do to combat this issue?
Have more campaigns, especially in schools. I think like there are rarely talks in schools about stuff like this. Referring that to Isha's case on what happened, and it all happened because of cyberbullying, the penalty that was given was really less. Anyone would look at the penalty that was given and be like, really? Just that? I can do this over and over again. Like I had friends who actually laughed about it and said that, I can down payment like 1,000 and just do what I want. So these are like the mentality that people have when it comes to stuff like this, because there are people out there who are cruel and they want to continue to be cruel. So if not a heavy fine or danda is like imposed, it will continue.
There has to be some kind of, watchdog, because the way the perpetrator walked out of the courtroom.
I
remember.
It was like
the boldness of this person.
And this person will do it again.
Yeah.
Because, it's like a child that's done something wrong. Okay, you didn't ground them enough.
Yeah.
They are not going to learn from this.
She showed no remorse.
She
on
didn't
her
show
face. She was
remorse.
smiling.
She was smiling.
Yeah.
Wow. When I saw that, I was just thinking, like, I used to get bullied back then. That was so long ago. And to watch it happen now, like this is...
It's the same old thing.
Yeah, it's gotten worse.
I think what's lacking really in society, and especially online, is empathy. People don't put themselves in other people's shoes. So they don't have that feeling of, what if that was me? How would I feel about it? You know? And people are just showing up in their worst selves. It's just shocking, really.
It is, because they think that, this person has everything. Like, I think when we look at other people online, or when other people look at us, they don't realize that what we put on social media is what we want them to see, and not what goes on in our lives.
A lot of people don't realize that you are not the person that you are online.
Yeah. Like, we are human beings with actual feelings, and we go through emotions on a daily basis. Sometimes you're happy, sometimes you're sad, but not everything is posted online.
Yeah.
So I think that from the public audience kind of view, when it comes to like someone who has the limelight on social media, they think it's okay to just say whatever you want to say, do whatever you want to do, because this person has it all. What I say shouldn't matter because this person got money, got this, got that.
That's just assumption, but of course with cyberbullying, I mean, you took your time to talk to the person that was giving, and then she came up and told you the truth, and the truth was she is just as miserable. In fact, she's more miserable.
Yeah.
So hating on you was her only outlet.
Well, come January, I think we'll be seeing some changes with regards to social media licensing. And even in places like Australia, I hear that, they're putting in force that anyone under the age of 16 will not be able to go on social media, which is interesting. I mean, Australia,
Well, I mean, it's moving in the right direction, I think. I do feel sometimes children has too much freedom, especially on social media. And social media can get, and it can start as early as 9, 10, 11, 12.
Yeah.
So there needs to be a cap.
Yeah.
Things need to be taken into consideration to protect them. So it doesn't end up like all these cases that we are getting.
Yeah.
There needs to be some form of regulation.
Yeah. You were online at 13 years old.
Yeah.
Do you think now, looking back on those days, that you were too young for that?
Yeah, like when I think back, I think it was something that everybody was doing at one time. It was like a trend sort of thing. Like, my friend has it, so I want it sort of thing. But now looking at kids nowadays, my nieces are like 5 and they have like iPhones and tablets and they're all on social media. Sometimes I know that parents as well, they create social media accounts for their kids.
And they run it and they expose their youngsters online, which is another topic for another day.
Yeah. So there's a lot happening in this era, which I think that the most important thing would be, even if the child has social media, parental supervision is really, really important.
Well, we do have a call to action. If you are being targeted online, if there are cyberbullies making your life hell, you can, do the following. Okay, we're going to give you some numbers. First off,
you can contact MCMC, which is the Malaysian Communications Multimedia Commission. All right. Their hotline is 1-800-188-030, or their WhatsApp at 016-220-6262.
Yes. And if you feel that you have psychological effects and impacts from this bullying online, you can contact the Malaysian Mental Health Association, and they provide free and confidential support and information by phone. That number is 03-2780-6803.
And of course, you can always call in to befriend us. I know a personal friend who actually, is part of befrienders, and they provide emotional support. You can call their hotline anonymously, even at 03-7627-2929, or email Sam, that's SAM, at befrienders.org.my.
Yes. And one last, very important talian, okay, is the CASE hotline. And that's 15999. That's the CASE hotline. And if you feel that things have gotten out of hand, you don't know where to go, you're having dark thoughts, we don't want another Isha case or any case
Not at
that
all.
involves this type of tragedy. So call that number is 15999.
Thank you, Joanna, for sharing with us your journey on becoming an anti-bullying, but also hearing, I'm sure a lot of girls out there who are at the same age when you started being attacked could resonate and find comfort the fact that you could come out of that hole. So we are hoping that for those who have listened, especially teenagers and all, and I'm sure for those, you can always, even if you want to message Joanna direct to ask her for advice.
Yeah. Thank you for
right?
having me.
Always. And since it's Christmas, I know sometimes it's very lonely out there for people who perhaps don't have family or don't have loved ones, or perhaps that's going through some form of emotional distress in Christmas. I mean, Christmas is beautiful. It's all about gifts. It's all about love. But if you don't have that, also know that it is okay. It's just another day, and Christmas was past. And then you all will have to deal with New Year Eve.
So take it easy. We wish you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Year.